believes that same-sex marriage should be legalized in the Philippines. And on government side, we have Ms. Gutierrez, Silang, and Dicilio from grade 11 Origa. And on the opposition side, we have Mr. Mendoza, Robles, Holanda from the Sagittarius side. Again, you have 4 minutes to say your cause. Spectators, the moment that they start speaking, everybody is requested to please keep shut. So you can only say shame or here. Prime Minister from the government, please take, the floor is yours.
Good morning to our spectators and to the members of the Board of Adjudicators. Today, we are tasked to argue about legalizing same-sex marriage in the Philippines. In that regard, our House agrees with the notion to legalize same-sex marriage. This argumentation is not based on what the majority believes in, especially the religious beliefs dominating our country. Though this is a value judgment debate, the government will present logical and unbiased arguments as to why same-sex marriage should be legalized in our country. Our bench in today's debate panel would like to argue about the universality of this issue. Same-sex marriage is the legal union between two people of the same gender. In most cultures across the globe, homosexuality was viewed with disdain and marriages between same-sex couples were forbidden. However, homosexual relationships are gaining acceptance as homosexuals have become vocal in fighting their right to marry. With an increased intolerance for homosexuality in the society, the controversy over the legalization of gay marriage has been disputed among people in many nations, including the 17 countries as of 2015, having laws allowing same-sex couples to become legally married. Accordingly, our bench would like to point out why same-sex marriage should be legalized in the Philippines. First, marriage, from its denotation, is the union of two persons officially recognized by the law and the state. The number one factor refraining our country from legalizing same-sex marriage is its traditional and too antique definition as a sacrament between only a man and a woman. However, our nation should be able to adapt to the changes in the society. We must bear in mind that currently, marriage is already an internationally recognized human rights for all people, including the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or the LGBT community, according to the Article 16 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which guarantees the right of a person to marry regardless of race and gender identity. Case in point, we Filipinos are too focused on various Bible teachings that we fail to remember the essence of respect and acceptance to others' beliefs and others' complexities. Legalizing same-sex marriage will allow the gays and lesbians exercise the fullness of their sexual identity, enjoy their rights to marriage, and dismantle what is perhaps the last legal prop of the pain and separation they felt from society, from discriminations and controversies, improving psychological, physical, and social well-being among LGBT people. Second, the state should have no say on how consenting adults conduct their lives. If two people should be allowed to do so regardless of, to marry to do so regardless of the color, religion, nationality, or sex of their partner. Love and marriage should be a purely personal choice. When governments interfere in the private lives of people, dictating who can marry who, individual freedoms are comprised with potentially dangerous implications. Marriage and its sanctity is marriage as a union defined by common respect, acceptance, and love, all of which are what gay people or gay and lesbian people desire and are capable of giving. Homosexuals are human persons.
Ms. Fry,
with their
time is up.
I believe I have made my point.
Leader of the opposition.
First, I would like to say that we are not discriminating same-sex couples Rather, we are proposing a counter-preposition that instead of legalizing same-sex marriage, moving to our point, it is not a marriage. Calling something marriage does not make it marriage. Marriage has always been a covenant between a man and a woman, which is by its nature ordered toward the procreation and education of children and the unity and well-being of the spouses. The promoters of same-sex marriage propose something entirely different. They propose the union between two men or two women. This denies the self-evident biological, physiological, and psychological differences between men and women which find their complementarity in marriage. It also denies the specific primary purpose of marriage, the perpetuation of human race and the raising of children. Two entirely different things cannot be considered the same thing. As said in the Republic Act number 8533, Article 39 of Executive Order number 209, otherwise known as the Family Code of the Philippines, marriage is a special contract of permanent union between a man and a woman entered into accordance with law for the establishment of conjugal and family life. Next, why do we need to push the right for a marriage for LGBTs? Yes, we respect them as who they are and what they are. But a marriage is not that needed because it wouldn't matter that much for if we had honor and respect the relationship and their love for each other. It would only be the same as the one with marriage contract at them, plus it's more practical as of now because the money would be used in the law of revision and all that sort can be used in the other important matters. No, thank you. We need to be more practical when it comes to this. We do not need to spend millions and millions of pesos to waste in these constitutional amendments and revision of family codes for it just to happen. We could use the money in a more productive endeavors. Next, it turns a moral wrong into a civil right. Homosexual activists argue that same-sex marriage is a civil rights issue similar to the struggle for racial equality in the 1960s. This is false. First of all, sexual behavior and dress are essentially different realities. A man and a woman wanting to marry may be different in their characteristics. One may be black, the other white. One rich, the other poor. Or one tall, the other short. None of these differences are insurmountable obstacles to marriage. The two individuals are still man and woman, and thus the requirements of nature are respected. Ladies and gentlemen, I have made my point.
Good morning to all of you. So before I proceed to our points, let me first rebut what the leader of opposition has said. So firstly, I would like to point out your definition of marriage. I would like to say that your definition of marriage is too old and too obsolete and too antique. We must bear in our minds that human beings from the beginning of time aren't the same as they are now. So our bench strongly believes that our society and our government and we as individuals should be receptive and should be adaptive to changes. And such changes may include gender complexities such as homosexuality. That's why our bench strongly believes that the government is obliged to give these homosexuals the equal rights that is enjoyed by men and women. Proceeding to my second rebuttal, marriage is not just about procreation. Let me remind you that when a man and a woman or when a man and a man marry each other, they are not just thinking about doing it, about procreating. So we must bear in mind that our country is suffering in overpopulation, and this same-sex marriage is a solution to lessen that overpopulation that is proliferating in our country. So next is that you said that the money should be allocated into something more important. So are you pointing out that money is more important rather than giving the citizens equality and equal rights? So proceeding to our points, same-sex marriage should be legalized in our country, because this can be best answered by how do we best serve equality to the members of the LGBT community. So we have to acknowledge them. We have to acknowledge these people living in our nation. So we have to give them the equal rights that is enjoyed by men and women. And we are a democratic country, so we should not forbid these homosexuals to marry who they want to marry. And if you want to talk about morality, then we from the government bench would like to bless you with the morality of respect and acceptance with this kind of people. You need to respect their preferences, and we must accept the fact that some people are born in a body that they did not choose. And we must respect their preferences. So moving on, Filipinos are two hypocrites. They say that they are upholding morality by promoting gender discrimination. So this kind of third-rate thinking of the Filipino people should be removed. They are not open to change. They are not open to normal things which appear malicious and immoral to them because of their narrow-mindedness. So just like what our Prime Minister has said, we are too consumed by Bible teachings, by the church, that we forget the real foundation of morality, which are respect and acceptance. I believe I have made my point.
As the leader of this bench, I said, we strongly believe that legalizing same-sex marriage is a heavy burden that state can carry. Thus, this bench proposes a counter-proposition that instead of legalizing same-sex marriage, homosexuals can be considered as partners that are recognized legally and have the right to a family, such as through adoption without changing the existing laws. This is the most beneficial way for the government and the people. Why? First of all, the Philippines, being a country of both Christians and Muslims, have already existing moral codes upon themselves. Legalizing same-sex marriage can cause an uproar and chaos to the state. The beliefs that both Christians and Muslims have will oppose their thoughts in accepting marriage. However, this can't be true if a proposal of accepting them as legal partners will be implemented. Second, Second, it is impractical to change the existing constitutional laws on marriage and family codes if a better solution, such as laws on marriage and family codes if a better solution, such as this existing. As said, there are already existing laws in our constitution the Philippines follow. Legalizing same-sex marriage will not only the cause of big issue, but can also add expenses and costs instead of just accepting this counter-proposition. Lastly, this is a win-win situation for both the members of third sex and to all Filipinos. This bench is not anti-love, nor does this bench promote discrimination against members of LGBTQ community, but instead we both think that all members of society has equal rights. Thus, the only way is through compromising. And the compromise is that homosexuals can still enjoy the benefits of marriage, but being legal partners without touching the marriage laws proceeded, and by this the state didn't disenfranchise millions of the other Filipinos are not ready yet to the idea of same-sex marriage. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe I'm right.
So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Before I start reiterating our points, let me do the honor of presenting my rebuttals to what the Deputy Prime Minister of the Opposition had said. So first, you have said that legalizing same-sex marriage in our country will just promote chaos. So why? Because you did not even provide examples of why and how is it going to promote chaos in our country. Second, you said that legalizing same-sex marriage is a win-win for both sides. Well, it is a side for the government and for the church. But what about those what about the LGBT community who is clamoring for the legalizing of this same-sex marriage. And another thing is that you said that religion is it will just bring chaos because of the Muslim and the Christianity, but religion is a very subjective matter. You can't expect people forcefully intoxicating themselves with the beliefs and ideas presented by the Bible. If you want to talk about morality, as what our Deputy Prime Minister had said, then we bless you we talk about morality, and then let the government side bless you with a lesson of respect. And what made us human is our capability to be affectionate, not but towards a specific gender identity, but towards other human being as well. So going back to reiterating our points. First, our Prime Minister had said is the traditional and the unthinked definition as a sacrament between only and a woman. We should learn to realize that human people thousand years ago are not the same as what they are now. We should welcome change, and our government is being very dependent on what the church says. In fact, the two work in a very different way and in a very different manner. So another thing is that we propose freedom and equality because we believe that banning same-sex marriage is a total discrimination of LGBT or the lesbian, gays, bisexuals, and transgender. Marriage and its sanctity is marriage as a which defined by common respect, acceptance, and love of all which are the gay desire and are capable of giving. Respecting the decision of other people, respect their preferences, because oh my god. I believe I have made my point.
Good morning. Before I get to my point, let me rebuttal what the government has said. The government defined that same-sex marriage is for the the other bench pointed out that same-sex marriage promotes free will or freedom to marry their people, the people they love. So for us, how can you defend a man marrying his cousin because they love each other?
Point. This is already the last bit.
So, but you're fighting for the sexual freedom that they love each other. So they also explain that legalizing same-sex marriage will just promote let me proceed to my point. As our bench state, there's nothing benefits or good about same-sex marriage because it will just you can say that it should already accept, wait lang. You can say that it should be legalized because it is already accepted in some influential countries like America. It is a proper consideration because the quantity and the influence are not enough to consider what is right and what is wrong because majority is not always right. The opposition suggests that instead of legalizing same-sex marriage, the government should focus on finding cure and medication on STIs